Biden is so squirrely and such a weakling that he won't even own it. Instead, he pretends to be a tough guy. He puts on his Ray-Bans and pretends that he wants a secure border, and then deflects blame and points the finger at everybody else. And then if you dare to call him on it, he then takes it one step further and calls you a xenophobic, racist fascist. But we've got the tale of two very different border visits today. We've got Joe Biden going to Brownsville, Texas, which is very quiet. I mean, tumbleweeds are crossing the border right now instead of the flood of criminal illegal aliens flooding across the border. Trump is going to Eagle Pass, where we're seeing tens of thousands of people cross. And we're going to show you the reactions right now from the Border Patrol security professionals who are noticing exactly these two different visits and the disparity in terms of the activity at the border. We'll start here first with the Border Patrol Union, which took to social media on X this morning and said, in no uncertain terms, attention, President Biden, keep our name out of your mouth today. The Border Patrol saying, we refuse to be used as a political prop for your selfish designs. They went on to say, we're experiencing the tip of the iceberg with illegal alien crime in this country. When Joe Biden's Titanic capsizes, you're going to see the real damage he's done the last 3 years. And it's hard to dispute that. I want to point out that where Joe Biden is going on the border, he's going to try to make the case that, you know, in Brownsville, I can steal his script right now. I don't think he's made any remarks down there yet. But he's going to say, right here where I'm standing in Brownsville, 2 years ago, we saw unprecedented crossings, but we fixed the problem and we'll fix it. We got to finish the rest of the job. That's not what's happening right now in Brownsville. If anything has been fixed, by the way, it's because of the old policies of President Trump that Biden started to reenact and put back in place when things got that bad. Also, by the way, in the background, when Joe Biden is there, you're not going to see reporters like Fox News' Bill Malugin or Julio Rosas or Jenny Terre at Daily Caller or any of the other intrepid reporters who have been showing you the actual problems on the border, because they're not going to be there in Brownsville. They're going to be where the action is, where we're actually seeing the border fall apart. Bill Malugin pointing out the Border Patrol's tweet here, and he says, the Border Patrol Union president tells me the White House never reached out or invited them for Biden's border visit in Brownsville. They expect Biden to cite the union's support for the failed Senate border bill today, and they say, keep our name out of your mouth. Yeah, he's going to say, even the Border Patrol was in favor of the bill that the Republicans just rejected. His entire visit down there is politics from beginning to end. But you know what? Let's face it, everything is politics. It's too trite to call what Joe Biden is doing in Brownsville, Texas, politics. Let's call it what it is. It's propaganda. It's political propaganda that you're paying for, by the way. He's not going down there on a campaign plane, and this ain't on the campaign's budget. This is the president flying on Air Force One, and you're footing the bill for his propaganda. The Border Patrol president, Brandon Judd, was on Fox News talking specifically about this.
Having said that, he's now piggybacking onto this Trump trip to make it look like to the people who are mad about immigration when they go to the polls, he's trying to do something. At the end of the day, though, Brandon, you know as well as I do, you cannot please everybody here. And a trip like this, it's just not going to work for him.
No, and especially for the Border Patrol agents, they are extremely upset. We're all upset that he is going to Brownsville rather than going to an area where he would be able to evaluate exactly what's going on and to come up with ideas and policies to actually secure the border. Rather, he's going to Brownsville. And that's the exact opposite of what President Trump is doing. He's coming right here to Eagle Pass. He's going to see exactly what has been done to secure this particular area, so then he can expand upon that when he gets back in the White House. That's exactly what policymakers should do. That's what people that govern should do. They should look at the areas that are trouble spots so that they can use what has worked and expand upon that.
And Biden ain't doing that. Another Border Patrol agent spoke with Fox News. Specifically, they're at the Rio Grande. You can see the flotation devices that the state of Texas have put in place to secure the border, because The federal government under Joe Biden won't do that. They don't actually want to secure the border. I got to say it over and over again. They have no interest in securing the border. And now they've got two political weapons to be able to fall back on. The first, which I already pointed out, well, this is really an immigration issue, which it's not. You could have the soundest immigration policy in the world, but if you don't secure the border, what good is that, right? So don't conflate the two. The second weapon they've got, thank you, Mitch McConnell and James Lankford, is they can claim that we had a negotiated deal, but the crazy MAGA Trump-loving Republicans didn't want it because they don't really want to fix the border. That's all you hear from them. And it's lies. It's lies, and it's propaganda. But the Border Patrol agents, they know better. So here's a Border Patrol agent at Eagle Pass where the actual crossings are taking place, and he'll tell you exactly the difference between where Trump is coming today versus where Biden is going.
Definitely with the fencing put up, and further down we have the Connex boxes that seem to help, but even still, they still want to just climb over or climb on top of those.
And agents here say that they're dealing with these smugglings on a daily basis. They said that they could catch more migrants crossing here in a day than they can in Brownsville in a week. So that just kind of shows you exactly what the difference is going to be for what Trump and Biden are going to see on the ground. Another live look there, as you can see that migrant now trying to figure out what he's going to do next. He'll be processed and then released, possibly on parole.
Did you catch that? Because it's the most important line that you'll hear about these two different visits. Like I said, a tale of two different presidential border visits.
It's crossing here in a day.
Oh, sorry. I'll start it a little earlier. Here, listen.
Said that they could catch more migrants crossing here in a day than they can in Brownsville in a week. So
where President Trump is going, they can catch more illegal crossers in a day than they will catch in a week over in Brownsville. And where is Biden going? He's going to Brownsville. Let's let one more Border Patrol agent. I love that the Border Patrol agents are just completely unplugged. They don't care. They don't care. They're willing to speak on the record. Go ahead, fire them, right? Here's one more earlier today, just about 2 hours ago with Harris Faulkner. 1 hour ago with Harris Faulkner.
President Trump is going down to the border because he wants to go down there. That's what it is. And President Biden is going down because he has to. For the last 3 years, he's been saying that the border is secure, that there is no issues. Obviously, everyone in America knows that that is a complete lie. And from day one of this administration, the border has been in chaos just on his rhetoric. Then he got rid of policies and it made it worse. And right now he's going down, pretty much it's the Hail Mary to save, the rest of the campaign because, he wants to get reelected. But if you really wanted to see where the areas were, he'd come down to Arizona or he'd go to San Diego. Arizona, just Tucson sector alone is averaging over 1,500 people a day.
There, he said it better than anyone could. President Trump is coming down here to the border because he wants to. Joe Biden is coming to the border because he has to. We have with President Trump a leader who has been defined by border policy since the very first day he announced he was running for president in 2015. And with Joe Biden, you've got a leader, I suppose, whose presidency has been defined by upending any semblance of border security. And if you dare to call him on it, instead of actually humbly owning his agenda, instead of saying, yeah, you know what? I don't like the fact that we have a secure border. I don't like the fact that people are turned away. America should welcome it. At least there are some Democrats who will say that. They'll own it. They'll actually say, no, we shouldn't have any borders. Anyone in the world should have the right to come here, right? Biden is so squirrely and such a weakling that he won't even own it. Instead, he pretends to be a tough guy. He puts on his Ray-Bans and pretends that he wants a secure border and then deflects blame and points the finger at everybody else. And then if you dare to call him on it, he then takes it one step further and calls you a xenophobic, racist fascist. And meanwhile, we have chaos. We have chaos in our country. We have chaos in your children's schools. We have chaos in our streets. We have crime and we have murder. A little bit more here. Karine Jean-Pierre yesterday specifically asked, why Brownsville? Now, I want you to watch this because as she answers the question, she's going to take over a minute to answer this question. And I'm going to give you a spoiler here. ultimately, the end of the answer to this question is MAGA fascists are bad and Republicans are just following Trump, and they said no to the great bill that we had that would have secured the border. It's the lie, the lie, the lie, the the division, the blaming, the name calling. But understand this, because that's the answer she gives. As she's giving this answer, keep repeating in your head because it's easy to lose track. The question is, why is Biden going to Brownsville? And that should be easy to answer. Why did you choose Brownsville? Why did you choose Brownsville is the question. Now watch the answer.
Why go to Brownsville, Texas specifically?
Look, I think the president, and I said this at the top, and I've said this many times, he wanted to show that it was important for him to go down there to hear from Border Patrol agents, to hear from first responders and what's going on the ground. He's been to the border before recently in this administration, and he also wants to lay out the work that he has been able to do with senators in a bipartisan way. We were able to come forward to the American people, push forward a bipartisan bill that dealt with the border, the challenges of the border, that also dealt with a broken immigration system. We were able to do that, and as I've said many times, it's supported by the Border Patrol Union, U.S. Chambers of Commerce, and that is not something that you see every day. But what ended up happening is that Republicans rejected it. They rejected it because of the last president and the politics around the last president. And so, look, the president's we actually even said that once that bill was killed by Republicans, that the American people are going to hear directly from the president.
There you go. Thanks, Newsbusters. Good work as always. Great people over there at Media Research Center. So there you go. The answer was never the question was never answered. The question was, why specifically Brownsville? They're pretty brazen, aren't they? With their ability to lie to you and just assume that you're going to take it. We'll never get that question. I'll give you the question. Why Brownsville? Because the last thing they want you to see is the chaos that they've created. That's why. All right. Meanwhile, on the state level, these policies are obviously having a severe impact. And so much so that in New York, Governor Kathy Hochul, she's really going the extra mile here. Look at what's happening here. She's moving forward with her plan to hand illegal immigrants thousands of the best jobs in the city. New York is changing their laws to give illegals government jobs. They're dropping high school diploma and English proficiency requirements. Approved earlier this month, the Civil Service Commission is working with agencies to implement the changes, which include dropping typical application requirements like proof of a high school diploma or proficiency in English. Can you send some of the migrants up here? We need them. I hear this in every corner of the state, says Governor Kathy Hochul. Watch.
Can you send some of the migrants up here? We need them. I hear this in every corner of the state.
Governor Kathy Hochul's administration recently agreed to a proposal that could make it easier for migrants to get temporary jobs in state government. Approved earlier this month, the Civil Service Commission is working with agencies to implement the changes, which include dropping typical application requirements like proof of a high school diploma or proficiency in English.
I have 10,000 openings in the New York State workforce, from our operations to SUNY. I have 10,000 openings. So this is to give options for people, but to say we are working intensely to get work authorization applications. These are all legal people.
The goal is to make it faster for migrants to get jobs once they get legal work authorization.
Okay, a couple of things here. They're not legal people. Legal suggests that they came here legally, they got their green card, and now they're awaiting to be naturalized citizens. No. Legal means they came here illegally, they claimed asylum status, they're awaiting their hearing, and in the meantime, the Biden administration has allowed them to stay and give them work authorization until their hearing. The hearing that they won't show up to, in many cases, the hearing that is scheduled literally 6 years from now. But they lie to you. They lie to you all the time. By the way, relaxing these standards, like you don't have to prove you have a high school diploma, you don't have to be proficient. They don't do this for you, do they? I mean, you've got all those job openings. Why don't you relax the standards for American citizens who are here to take those jobs? No, they want to take people who have entered the country illegally, boost them up, keep them here, give them benefits, get them ingrained into society. As soon as they have driver's license, they're given the option to vote. Now, if they're on the honor system, you've all been to the DMV, you've gotten your license, you know what it's like. You start checking boxes, whether it's on a screen or on a piece of paper, and they say, while you're here, would you like to register to vote? And then there's a little line there that says, only U.S. citizens can vote. Are you a U.S. citizen? And then they can say yes or no. And it's on the honor system. That's never checked. You know that. Of course you know that. There's no police that come over and check to see. When you check that box, they don't ask for proof of citizenship. They're literally not allowed to in most states. And that's exactly what the plan is. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. But meanwhile, even in New York, citizens seem to be fed up with this. Take a look at this. At Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's district, AOC, they're giving a big presentation to all of her loving constituents, and watch how she was greeted.
In 2020, the CARES Act passed, and in 2021, we started to see a lot of different pieces of introductions.
You only represent the illegal aliens, and you get it.
Well, clearly I don't, because I'm an elected member of Congress. So keep it pushing, bro. All right. It's always interesting to me when folks say that I only represent undocumented folks, because clearly, this community, Astoria, Jackson Heights.
Yeah, she goes on to say, how can that be? No, the point he's making is, yeah, you get elected, people vote for you, but you only do the business of and look after the concerns of illegal immigrants. I mean, you saw her down there at the border in tears, crying for the cameras. She doesn't cry for the people of her own community who are suffering. Nice skirt, by the way. I mean, you got to hand it to her for that. I'm telling you, what we're seeing today at the border is specifically one of those so-called black swan events that could make the difference in this campaign. If you believe the polls right now that say the number one issue for Americans is not immigration, but border security, and those words are so important. And please don't fall into the trap when you're debating this with your buddy on Facebook or the liberal who's got a cubicle 3 seats down from you at the office. This is not an immigration issue. When they start using the immigration word, just stop and say, you know what, I'd be happy to discuss immigration with you, but can we first talk about border security? Securing the border is completely removed and divorced from immigration. I'll say it again so you can use these words yourself. You can have a broken immigration system and still keep the border secure. Or you can have a pristine, perfectly functioning immigration system and still have the border secure. The two are not related. And the only times they're related, or the only times people try to make them related, is when they're trying to distract you.